Hello there, outliers. Niiamah, Shang here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. Today, we have a very special Outliers Edge roundtable here where we get a chance to talk with none other than Jeep Banerjee. Jeep, thank you so much for making the time for this. Thank you for building your experience in life and for showing up in such a way that we can find you and you can go and let us know more about your outlier journey.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Jeet, what I like to do is start off each conversation with a simple question. We want to know more about you. And what I want to know about is tell us about you and the game you're currently playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a serial entrepreneur now for 15 years. I've sold multiple businesses, failed with multiple ventures, kind of been through the ringer, gone through a bunch of different industries from tech startup companies to e-commerce to some of the stuff that I'm doing right now, which are like consulting agencies. And yeah, right now I'm basically a digital marketing consultant. So we've got a pretty big digital marketing agency here where we basically run, paid media ads for e-commerce brands. And yeah, that's a little bit about me and kind of what I'm doing right now.
All right. So what I get about you is you've been at entrepreneurship since you were like in your late teens, right?
Yep.
All right. And you've had a number of different types of ventures. I'm really curious right now, why digital marketing right now? Like, because I get the sense that you could have done anything,
Mhm.
with what you did. So why this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest reason why digital marketing now is it just kind of made sense. So after I sold my last business, which was like an e-commerce company, I was really soul searching, trying to figure out what it is next that I wanted to do. And I just remember constantly people reaching out to me, hey, can you do my paid ads? Hey, congrats on the sale of your company. Can you help me with my digital media for my e-commerce brand? And it was something where I wasn't even going out there seeking clients. Clients were just kind of pouring into me. And I thought to myself, hey, maybe this is how I can kind of serve people the best in this meantime, in this kind of interval period while I kind of figure out the transition of what I want to do next. And that's kind of how, so it kind of chose me more than I chose it, I'd say.
Yeah, this is actually really fascinating to me, Jeet, because I think that this element of the transition, I don't often hear it being talked about. You said you're doing soul searching and all that. Like, so when I can imagine an outlier listening to this and being like, oh, he's a serial entrepreneur, been doing this for 15 years, da 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 da, everything's figured out. And the most interesting space to me is that liminal space in between, where you're like, I sold, I have the space. I know that I'm going to do something else, but I don't know what exactly that is. Can you take us to to that time there? Like, what was life like for you? Help me see. I don't even know what to ask here because I don't want to start putting on too much color to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for me as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest things for me has been, anytime I've found success is I've always been seeking passion, right? Something that I'm very passionate about doing. And the reason I kind of got out of my e-commerce businesses was kind of I started losing that burning passion for doing it. And it kind of started to feel like work. And anytime it's felt that way, it's kind of been like, okay, I need to transition into something else. But this was one of the first periods of my life where I didn't know before when I transitioned, it'd be like, oh, yeah, I want to get out of tech startup companies and I want to build e commerce brands. And I had this whole plan in place. But this was kind of one of the first times where I didn't have a plan in place. And it was also okay because I was kind of in a very financially secure position where I didn't need to, like maybe in the past, where it's like, oh, if I'm not doing something, then I'm not making money and it's a huge problem. But I kind of had this time where I was like, you know what? Let me be very selective. Let me be very thoughtful in my process of figuring out what I want to do next. And even with the digital marketing agency, I think it's just something that I'm doing in this transitionary period where it's like I have this gift that people clearly believe in me and I can impact people's businesses in a positive way. So while I figure out my next big move, why not give back and help to as many people as I can in that interim period until I transition into, my next venture. And I'll tell you what, most people would think like, oh, that's such a blessing or such a grateful, like, I should be very grateful about being in that position. And while I am, and I have been, it took me some time to realize that because in the beginning it was miserable.
Mm,
Like when all you've known your entire 15 years of being an entrepreneur is building a business and doing something, and then
yep.
all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you're like, man, I have nothing to do today. I don't have an idea. And you start to kind of lose that purpose and motivation and things of that nature, which definitely happened to me and something that I was struggling with. And I'm so glad that I was able to create the digital marketing agency and go forward with that in this transition period because it's something that helps me keep my mind on it. But I think as a serial entrepreneur, I think the most dangerous thing I've realized is not doing too many things.
Yeah.
it's not doing anything at all.
Yeah, so like so a couple things I'm hearing from you, G. I appreciate you being real about it, by the way, because
Mhm.
I think there's a we often compare how we feel on the inside with how
Mhm.
others look on the outside, and it's and part of what I'm hearing from you is like, look, you're in a financially stable place that you had some space to go, but you've typically built your businesses or moved on to new things from a place of being pulled, right? Maybe the
Mhm.
passion's pulling you, maybe the like the in this case like the opportunity was coming in, but what I also get is like you're still open to like the passion coming in a different way. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, you're making sure that you're still staying both active, but I'm also hearing like in service. Like it's not that like I didn't just hear you like say like I just started a publishing businesses because why not? You're like no, actually I was being like people were calling me into that. Let me ask you here because what I'm thinking about any outlier who I think there's actually um underappreciated the ability to actually like lean in to people saying you have a gift in something. Can you
Mhm.
go into it? I think a lot of times we can like push it off to the side or whatever it is. So what did it take for you to like say like, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to like answer this call right now that's coming to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's something, and I think a lot of people with a gift do this, is where they kind of take it for granted. And I
Hmm.
think I've always had the gift of marketing, and that's kind of been my specialty, but it's come very easy to me. So I've never appreciated it enough. And I think, and I've never gone out publicly and like pushed my services for marketing or anything like that. But when I kind of sold my business and I just had people, and I'd say very highly esteemed people, people that I even personally look up to and things like that, coming up to me and saying, hey, I don't know what you're doing next, but if you're thinking about marketing, I would love to hire you. Like, no questions asked. Let's make it happen. And that was really kind of like an awakening for me in a standpoint, because it was like, oh wow, like other people, like like I always think about it as like, if I was to die the day that I die, what are people going to think about me? And I always kind of try to operate and live life in a way where people would think good of me. But one of the things that I never thought of was people would be like, oh, if I needed digital marketing, this is my guy. You know what I mean? And so for me to have that realization after I sold that company and multiple people coming up to me, that was kind of my point of realization of like, oh, maybe I do have a gift or something special here, because people that I've never even spoken to about it are noticing what I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of liken it to, sometimes you watch sports. I'm a big sports guy. And sometimes you watch, that basketball player, and it's like he might be a bench guy. He might not get all the glitz and the glamour, but like the fan base is like cheering for him because he's the guy that's getting on the ground, and people notice his value to the team, even though his minutes might not show it, the box score might not. And I think like when you get that realization, that's when you really know, like, hey, I've got a gift here. I've got something special here.
Outliers. I want you to take that in right now, like both in the description of it, like use that to identify something for yourself right now. If you can leave this conversation with one more, like 1% more of a clue, clarity, I would say 1% more clarity on the gift that you have and what you bring in and ownership of it, right? I mean, Jeep built a whole business around it, like it's not just something like, oh yeah, I can do your digital marketing on the side. Like, no, like he was serious about it and he owned it. And like I want to bring that in for you in this place here. Gee, we're gonna be today's like a faster conversation we have, but like there's a lot of things that are popping off as you're talking. One of the things that I'm hearing that is really interesting to me because I know a bit of your story and like where you started and such, and maybe we'll bring outliers into it. But my understanding of your story is that at a very young age you got in entrepreneurship, and but it wasn't like you were like born into an entrepreneur family or like you were like third generation entrepreneur, or even that your parents were like this is the way to go, right? So the question that's come to my mind is thinking about your journey over the last 15 years. It feels to me that like doors keep getting opened whether or not you are searching for the doors or you're creating the doors and having people open, whatever it is, doors keep getting open. And I was wondering if you can speak through maybe taking us back from like where you first started it to like getting to the place where now you do have people who are like, hey, by the way, like if you get into this business, I'm in with you, right? Like there's an element as I'm listening to this where I'm like, you didn't start out with these contacts. You didn't start out with this like reputation and so on and so forth. And yet it's continued to compound. So would you mind just like walking us through like two or three of like the ways you've continued to open door for yourself over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would really break it down to two things for me that it's really happened for me. Obviously one of them is hard work. I think hard work trumps all. If you put the work in and you just put your head down and you grind, I think opportunities will come to you. And I think like the example that I gave about the digital marketing agents, consultant firm just coming to me, I think it's a product and a result of my hard work because it's never something like I was never building those businesses for this opportunity. I was just building my businesses, working as hard as I can to make them as successful as possible. And those opportunities came as a product of my hard work. And I really think that, hard work, it shows itself over a long period of time. People can get lucky in short bursts, things like that. And the second thing that I'd really attribute it to is I had this delusional self-belief as a 17-year-old kid that I kind of never lost. And it was, at 17 when all my friends in school, they're partying, they're doing their thing. My parents, my, elders, cousins, things of that nature, they're telling me, oh, it's crazy. You can't be an entrepreneur at 17. That's unheard of. You have no experience. You have no resume. You have no skills, all of these types of things. And for me to still carry on with the delusional self-belief of like, no, I can do it. Why not? I think that played a huge factor and a huge role in where I am today because, you know, being 17 years old, the amount of times I got rejected, faced obstacles, challenges, hurdles, faced rejection. I think 99% of people would quit and they would listen to their elders and they would listen to the people around them. But for me, I couldn't tell you what it was. Like I say, like I call it delusional self-belief. I always just thought, that's fine. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna make it happen. Like failure was never an option in my mind. Like setbacks, I were well aware of, but it was like, no matter what, I'm gonna make it. And I used to talk the same delusional way that I talk now. Like I used to tell people like, oh, by 25, I'm going to be financially free. Like people that used to, doubt me, question me, I'd be like, oh, you're going to see by 25, I'm going to be financially free. And at this time I hadn't earned a dollar. I didn't have anything going for me, nothing. So I think it takes those two things. It's like a crazy amount of self-belief and hard work. And if you put those two things together, I think there's unlimited potential for you.
Yeah, but this feels really real. Like there's I see how you continuously brought this out to life over and over and over and over again. So let me ask you now, I know that you're what is a thing now that um I like to call it sweaty palms, right? The thing that you're taking on right now that's like, all right, this is a bigger thing that I've done in the past, or like this is the thing that's helped like causing me to grow right now. What would you say is a project you're working on? Maybe it's in business or maybe it's beyond that's like giving you sweaty palms right now.
I would probably say so. Everything I've always done has been pretty much online.
Okay.
And for the first time, I think I'm taking on and tackling a project that's going to be more physical. So
Nice.
I'm in the process of very early stages, but in the process of starting like a restaurant and hopefully looking to build that into a franchise down the road. And I think, yeah, I mean that's probably got the heart beating for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love this year. Thanks, Jeet, for putting this out here because there's this element of that in every one of my conversations. I just want to like outlights. Remember, like we're extraordinary people, but but we're extraordinary. You know, like you have a 15-year track record of success, and now you're like, all right, but I'm still stepping into something new. I'm still stepping out of my comfort zone. The incredible self-trust and self-belief is there, but I love being able to put this all into combination together. G, we're going to start wrapping up for today. What the question I want to ask you here is for any outlier that's listening to this, who's on the journey. Maybe they're in like year 7 of where you were, or whatever it is. Like pick. Actually, I'm going to actually ask you to do this. Pick some time that wasn't at the beginning of your journey. For someone that's like deep in the throes of this here, maybe like. Hey, let us know who you would want to talk to. And we call this an outside. What's a message that you would want to share with like that version of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would probably go I'd probably go somewhere in the early stages of my e-commerce journey. So that might be about like 7 years ago or so. And I think one of the craziest things about that whole journey, and it's kind of been a repeating factor in my life, was, I went the first 6 months without having a single sale in e-commerce, couldn't sell one product. And I continued going for 6 months. And eventually everything ended up working out. And the biggest message that I would give myself, and kind of like a pat on the back, because before that I had some business success, things like that, and it could have been I could have very easily said, hey, I don't need to do this challenge. I've already conquered things in, tech. Why am I going into an industry where I failed for 6 months and I'm just eating, dirt every day? And I think the biggest thing that I would tell people is that, sometimes the greater the challenge, sometimes the greater the reward. And I think if you're on a journey right now and you're facing some challenges, I know it's very easy to turn around and go back to something else or to go back to familiar territory, but comfort and change can't coexist, right? If you want to change your life in a better way, you got to get uncomfortable. And I'm so glad that I got uncomfortable even during a time where I necessarily didn't need to, because it opened up so many doors and it changed my life. And that's the biggest thing I tell other people.
I love it, Gene. I just, honestly, I love it and I hate it. Right. And I say I love it and I hate it because I'm smiling as you say this because there's some, I'm stepping into some new realms. I'm changing up the ways that I've been showing up for years online and beyond. And just, I could hear like the whisper of the allure of like, come on back. It's so easy. You can totally do this. And you said it right here, right now, where as you said that, it helped me shine a light on it and be like, nah, we're going here. This is where we're moving. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you personally. That was really impactful right there. We're going to end this conversation with the two things I always ask everyone here because I'm genuinely curious. One, what's the way that outliers can go deeper down the journey with you? So how do they continue down if they want to know more about you or continue, follow that way? And then the second one, we just had an outsite that was for outliers where you were sharing something for them. I only have conversations for it to be life changing, right? In some way, shape, or form. And so I'll be curious for you, what insight or takeaway are you leaving this conversation for yourself, right? What's something that you're leaving this conversation with for yourself? And if you're like, I'm not really leaving anything, but it was a fun time, you can say that too. Like, don't feel like you have to make anything up. So how can outliers go deeper down the journey with you? And what's an insight that you're leaving this conversation with? And we'll wrap from there.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody wants to connect further with me, the best way to probably do so, they can get in touch with me, Instagram at the Jeep Banerjee. You can email me. You can find me online, jeepbanerjee.com. So those are probably the best ways to get in touch with me. And then in terms of the biggest insider takeaway that I'm leaving this with, you know what I'm going to say? A lot of times when I've done something very difficult or very challenging as an entrepreneur, I always think I'm the only one, and I kind of get stuck in that, like, box, and I never think about, oh, other people are going through similar things. So the fact that you mentioned, hey, you're going through something just as similar as I referenced, something that I went through, it's always a very humbling and a point to stay grounded, is like anything I'm going through, other people are probably going through, and some people may be going through it way more difficultly than I am. So just got to stay grounded and, always remember there's other people with you, whether you know them or not.
I love that here. Like outliers, we are all in this here. Gee, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for making the time. Again, thanks for bringing your experience and thanks for bringing your openness into this conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure. Outliers, until the next time we talk, be you on purpose. Journey on.